So Microsoft have just announced the DRM and used game restrictions for the Xbox One after weeks of unclear and contradicting explanations. I thought I'd try and explain it as clearly as possible. So, let's imagine I have an Xbox One. That's a 360, but let's imagine. And Microsoft decides to release Halo 5. Now on the day of release, I can either go to the store and buy a physical copy, or download it from the Xbox One store online. So let's say I buy it from a shop. I can install this game to my console onto the hard drive and it will be linked with my account. But now, this disc has been used and no one else can use it to install the game. But because it's linked to my account, I can go to a friend's house, sign in and play Halo 5. Up to 10 members of my family can play, but only one of them at any given time. I'm not quite sure how they're going to verify who's your family and who's not. But moving on, let's say I'm done with Halo 5 and I want to get rid of it. Usually I just go to someone and say, hey, do you want to buy Halo 5? But I can't do that now because remember, the disc is linked to my account. So what Microsoft is doing is setting up their own trade platform, working with retailers and publishers. So first of all, people like Ubisoft and EA are going to have to agree they want used game sales to happen, and then Microsoft are going to have to work with people like GameStop and Amazon. So if that all goes according to plan, I can take my disc to the store, sell it to them for cash or credit. It then becomes unlinked from my account so that GameStation can sell this on to another person so that they can install it on their console. I can no longer play Halo 5. I'm okay with that because it's probably not going to be very good. Now Microsoft implies that publishers will only accept used game sales on certain terms. Now in principle this is a great thing because it means more money for publishers and hopefully more money for developers to make great games. But moving on, let's rewind and say I've still got Halo 5 and I want to give it to a friend or someone I don't like very much. I can unlink this from my account, give them the physical copy and then they can install it on their console. Again, I can no longer play Halo 5. Microsoft have said that they're currently looking into the possibility of game loans and rentals, but it won't be available at launch. And it's not explicitly said, but I think you can assume that reselling and transferring your games doesn't apply to games you've downloaded. And one final pretty major thing. Microsoft want to check that you're not using your console to play games you haven't paid for via hacking or some other exploit. So they're going to check up on you using an internet connection, and this is going to happen every 24 hours. If you go 24 hours without an internet connection, you can't play any of your games. You can watch TV and Blu-rays, but you can't play your games. And if you're playing on a friend's console, these checks will change from daily to hourly. Now Microsoft have called these consoles secondary consoles, and I find that a bit hard to understand because I think a lot of people are going to have two primary consoles, or maybe not a lot of people, just nerds. So the implication of this is that every September when students flood back into houses and they've forgotten to phone Virgin Media so they're without internet for 3 weeks, they won't be able to use their console which they've paid more than £300 for. And actually Virgin Media here is pretty poor, it's down right now. So that's the situation. All games will be linked to one account, Microsoft will be setting up a trade platform, and there will be daily internet checks. Now I don't mind the first two, but as someone who regularly loses access to their Xbox Live Arcade games for a reason I still don't know, the last one worries me quite a lot. To the point where it's not going to be worth me buying an Xbox if I'm going to get locked out of my games when the internet goes down. With E3 just around the corner, Microsoft are going to have to reveal some pretty amazing exclusive if they're going to get me to buy a console. And get me to stop telling people not to buy a console. So speaking of E3, I will have coverage of everything on this channel as it happens, which means yes, I'll be up all night on Monday. So subscribe if you want to keep on top of it all, or if you just want to see my face. Enjoy the show.